Hello, team. Wow, we're going to talk about success and we're going to talk about the elements that it takes to be successful and some of the things that it takes to be successful, being at the right place at the right time with the right company and the right market conditions with the right products. And, we have that combination of those things in our business. Now, we all know we're not investment advisors, tax advisors. I'm not, you're not, but we're a bunch of people that have found a way that we can all enjoy the benefits of God's money, gold and silver. And then we can help teach each other uh, the facts about gold and silver, things that we aren't taught about on purpose. But we encourage everybody to, do their due diligence and do what I'm being. But myself, I may not be a tax advisor or an investment advisor, but I've been in gold and silver for 38 years in the marketplace, in the company. So I've got a little bit of experience and knowledge, and some of those things I want to share with our 7K teammates and uh, and the value of the business that you have in your hand. Uh, I've since 1991 uh, live by a philosophy. You would all see that on the uh, emails that I send out. I will do today what others want so I can have tomorrow what others can't. Now, Jerry Rice, some of you may know him, an NFL football star. He coined a phrase kind of like that, but I paraphrased. I picked it up and I adapted it to me and what I was doing in my life. And I encourage others to do the same. And I really encourage you to do that with your 7K business. Do today what others won't so you can have tomorrow what others can't. And I think with the facts that we talk about today, will be revealing that you will want to do that. And I truly believe that we're blessed because we are 7K members. And you can be too if you join us or the people you know join us and join you, or those that are members actually re-engage because I don't believe they really know what they have their hands on and what products they have and their real value, not just today, but as we look into tomorrow. And that's what's important. So, I'm going to give some facts. Let's not talk about supposition. Let's first talk about facts. And facts are that this company started 9 years ago, kind of with a model, a Costco model, join membership, be able to buy gold and silver at member direct prices without having to buy 500 ounces or 1,000 ounces, to get the best price. We could buy 1 or 2 ounces. We could average, and we were introduced to uh, uh, numismatic products, a way to diversify, collectible, and this company brought about some of the most highly desired and will be, in my opinion, some of the most valuable collectible numismatic coin sets in the world. Like in particular, uh, the the series with Miles Standish series, any of the Miles Standish designs. Just think about that. Having those in your possession and being able to pass down. And if you want to retail them in the future, well, they, our company gave us a way that we could inventory them. We could put them in our book. We wouldn't have to keep accounting records, read those things. They've got a barcode on these things. The numismatic, the NGC and PCSG, they have these codes. They know who buy these coins. Well, it's a way that pass title. I'm not going to go through that, but our company created this uh, basically trading place that not only can we trade, buy and sell, it's kind of like real estate because it is an asset. And so we can list our coin. They will certify to the buyers, and then they will collect the money from the buyer. We don't have to have that, and we pay just a minimal fee. Well, this is global right now. This was done almost 6.5, maybe 7 years ago, and it's evolved and evolved. But what I want to point out, the main thing, it's the first ever inventory system for collectors. So you and I have a database that records everything we own, records what we paid for it, and if we sell it, we will have a record of what we sell it for. That's phenomenal. This is an amazing asset that we have, and it comes with, and in our free $5.99 lifetime membership, we have unlimited coins there. Well, 7K developed this technology. It's global. It's worldwide. There's a $4.2 billion numismatic coin collectible marketplace. We get to participate in that as the company grows, as the company gets bigger, as the company goes global, and it extends in many countries, then we'll be participating in that market too. So you got real assets and ways to do it. Then they developed a little over 5 years ago the Max Vault and the Sound Money Wallet, basically a digital gold and silver account where you can actually buy fractional gold at the best prices. So if you're buying fractional gold from even the biggest discount brokers and having it shipped to you, you're paying $5, $6, $8,000 an ounce for it. And then what do you got to do when you want to turn it into cash? Well, you got to market it, you got to sell it. Well, they have brought to the marketplace basically a gold and silver account where we actually buy real bullion. It's stored, secured, insured by Lloyd's of London. We don't have to worry about it. It's right there. It's working. And now this is our product that we're going global with. And that's a very important fact to know. This is our product, our Sound Money Wallet. So people can actually buy gold and silver. The mission statement of the company was to make gold and silver affordable and that everyone in the world could own it, regardless of their income status. Oh, this is going to allow us to achieve that. And it's up to us how to implement it, how to communicate it. And that's our job. So I really want to put this company brought this to the marketplace over 5 years ago. Now, everyone needs to have a story, kind of like my story with it. Okay. And I have a story. I've got many more, but I just picked out one, and you should pick out one. I don't care if it's $100, $10, $20, $1,000, $2,000 or more. Okay. But on 5/23/2023, that's May 23rd of 2023, I purchased $25,000 worth of 1 ounce gold bars in my Sound Money Wallet, stored in my Max Vault. Well, I got 11.855. Yeah, we can have fractional ounces of that bar. They've got to have the full ounce in that bar, in that vault. Okay. But I have 11.855 ounces. That's why it's still there today. Well, when I did the presentation, it was back on 9/8 when I put it together. And you'll notice some of these numbers have changed, and that's a good thing. And I'm going to point that out. But I could have sold it back with a click of a button, and we pay the company pays you and me the highest buyback price above spot. No other company's ever done that. No other company I know of in the marketplace does that. In fact, most of the time, if you're buying that fractional or incremental gold and silver and having it delivered to you, well, if you need to turn it to cash, what do you got to do? You got to go to the coin shop. You got to go to a pawn shop. Well, they see you coming. You're lucky to get 85%. You're giving away most of your profit. It's better to store it safe, secure, and fully insured, and then have it transactional. So this company bought transactional gold and silver to the marketplace. Now, just think about that in the globe, because, see, we can't ship. It's almost impossible to ship bullion or even collectible coins to the UK, to Italy, to Australia, to New Zealand, to countries around the world because of custom fees, because of that taxes, all kind of other levies and taxes put on. Here in the U.S., we didn't have a problem with that when we started building a business. But now we're going global. This is a global business, not just a U.S., because you have infinite left and infinite right. Well, look, let's get back to my story. On 9/8, I could have just clicked the button and told me they would have bought it back from me for $3,648.69. That meant I could have received $43,255.22 and just transferred it ACH to my bank account. That's transactional gold and silver. Now tell me where I could have put $25,000 with no risk, because gold and silver never goes bankrupt. Oh yeah, it goes up and down a little bit, but look at the long term, and we're going to be talking about facts like that today. Where could I have done it? Well, maybe you don't have $25,000. Well, what if you'd have put $250 there? That's just a little more than 2.5 years ago. But that $250 would have turned into $432.55. And see, you could have bought gold with $250, and you would not have been paying $8,000, $9,000 or $7,000 an ounce for incremental gold in half gram or 1 gram bars to get $25,000 worth. Amazing. Have your story. Make sure you have your story. Make sure you're a product of the product. Make sure you're buying in your wealth builder every week or every month, whatever you can budget, because we make it affordable. But if you're not doing it, you can't succeed. Gold, since I'm talking facts now, since 1975, at a low of $114 an ounce, at a high of $35.75 an ounce. Well, that's when I put the presentation together, before I went to San Antonio for running with the herd. We all know that high has already gone up. It's over $3,800 an ounce. I didn't look at it today. So my presentation a little outdated, but that's not the point. The point is, where is it going? It's better than the figures I have on the screen right now. Silver since 1975 has gone from a low of $4 an ounce to a high of $41.02 an ounce. Well, like gold, so silver even hit $46 an ounce. It's setting records, and that's what we want to talk about. Why should that change? Let's look at another real fact. Because, see, like I told you, when I got into this, I got in because of the mission statement. And I've been in gold and silver for 38 years. They didn't teach me in my MBA program about gold and silver. I had to learn on my own. They taught me about all the paper instruments and all that. That's all they teach people about. They teach people about the Dow, the S&P, bonds, debentures, options, that, treasury notes. They don't teach you about gold and silver. Why? Because the brokers don't make any money off of it, to really be honest. That's why. They want you to participate in the man's world, not God's world. God's money. Because they can't make a lot of money off of you if you got a lot of your funds in gold and silver, like I have done through the years. But the Dow at the end of 1970 was at 838. You can check these out. These are facts. Gold was $35 an ounce. That's $24 per ounce. In other words, the Dow was worth $24 an ounce in gold. Okay. Well, that meant the Dow was a better investment, wasn't it? If gold was $35 an ounce. Okay. No, gold's a better investment. $35 an ounce is better than $24 an ounce. But see, we aren't taught things like that. Well, let's fast forward to 2025. The Dow hit an all-time high record of 46,714. That hadn't been exceeded yet. And gold, at the time I did the presentation, was 35.53. Well, now we all know it's more than that. It's 38.83 or something like that. Well, at 35.53, that's $13.15 an ounce. That's what the Dow's worth. Well, actually, if we use the current price today, that's $12 an ounce. So in 55 years, the Dow has gone from 24 ounces of gold to 12 ounces of gold. Well, I know I got 13.35 because I was using the figures I put together when I put together the date of the presentation, which was the 8th of September. Wow, that should tell you a story. Let's think. Where would our money be best placed? I ask myself that question all the time. And when I look at facts, it it gives me the information I need to make an informed business decision. And that's what we're doing. Let me give you some other little statistics that are facts. And these are kind of important to kind of know and learn. You know, gold, the silver to gold ratio we talk about. Well, here I was just comparing it what it was at gold 35.53 and silver at $40.76. That's a ratio of 87:1. I know the picture says 85 to, but so it fluctuates with the price of either one. But the whole point is, would you trade 87 ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold? I wouldn't. Let's look at the historical average. Okay. Now, the ratio has many factors in it because it has what's happening in the economy, supply demand of silver, the manipulation of the price of silver over the past 5 decades, 6 decades, what J.P. Morgan and a COMEX. But see, that's slowly coming to an end, and that's very important. And economic factors, financial factors. But it's good to know these facts. It went from a low of 14-1, I mean 14 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, to a high in this period, the 75-year period, of 126-1. And now in my presentation of 87, but what's really important is this average. The 50-year average is 47-1. That's an important fact to keep in mind. Okay. So let me just share with you some global statistics. And we're going to talk about the US statistics too. But this is fairly well known and established. There's no real numbers. I mean, you can look all this stuff up. But here's the amount of silver you need to own to be in the top percentages of owners of silver in the world. And I would dare to say that more than 50% of our 7K members are in the top 10% owners of silver in the world. I think they have over 50 ounces of bullion. And especially those that's been in my group where I taught to every time you bought your numismatic coin, you would also add 1 ounce of bullion, or a silver eagle, a maple leaf, a Britannica, or just a generic round to it. So you get free shipping, and it's shipping with your coin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're starting to accumulate that bullion, but you have it in your hand. Now I tell people to do the wealth builder, whatever you can afford, $40 a week, $100 a week, $250 a week, whatever you can put in your budget, you should be buying in, I think, like I'm doing in the wealth builder. Why let our cash sit around in a savings account or a checking account, or being deteriorated by inflation and dilution when they print more money up? Well, if you own 150 ounces of silver bullion, you're in the top 5% owners in the world. Congratulations. If you own 5, that's a monster box. There's many of us that own multiple monster boxes in 7K and purchase them. Many of us have many monster boxes, have more than that in our sound money wallets. You're in the top 1% holders of silver in the world. You've just joined some of the elite. But look, if you own 5,000 ounces or more of silver, it doesn't matter if it's in numismatic form or it's in bullion, it's still ounces of silver. You're in the top 1/10 of a percentile of owners in the world. You just joined some elite groups in the world. And now look what we're doing. Yeah, we started in America, then we went to Canada, and then we started expanding into Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and we had to get into the UK, had to get to Singapore, we have to get to the other gold and silver marketplaces. Okay. And of course, Switzerland. And so, but then we ran into the problem. 7K couldn't ship our product we based our business off, the numismatic coin. It was just too costly, too expensive, and too cumbersome for those people. Oh, but they can own gold and silver and they can store it in the United States, and it's in a private vault and it's in a tax-free haven of Idaho. This is really significant, everyone. So now we're on the gauge. They've just opened in like 47 more countries. Now we're physically open, ready to do business in 63. Now those people will be pioneering, just like those of us that started 9+ years ago with 7K. We were pioneers. Some of you are only 2 years in, or 3 years, or 4 years, or 5 years, or 6 years. But you help pioneer the basis of a multi-billion-dollar global giant, and you are part of that. Let's make sure we don't lose sight of our objective and where we're going, because this is significant with the information that I'm providing you today, the facts. I'm talking about facts. But this is another fact. Since 2020, silver's gone up more than 190%. That's a fact. Well, we talk about the time I did the presentation to now, it's actually gone up over 200%. But here's another fact that's not being talked about that much. See, there's a huge rising demand of silver, and silver's depleted. It's used up. It's not like gold. Every bit, about 98%, 98.5% of all gold that's been mined in the world is still above ground. It's in the form of bullion or jewelry. It's not consumed like silver. See, silver is consumed in solar panels, in, we call these devices, cell phones, computers, iPads, batteries. There's a whole huge rising consumption demand for silver in the last decade. But our future outlook and near term, the next few years even, it's an amazing, huge increase in demand. So we have a deficit of silver available. Another important fact, and I'm going to give you another figure soon. So because of AI and its high demands on silver, and robotics and its high demand on silver, and we talked about the computing world, and that's raising. I mean, look how many billions of cell phones around the world, and that's growing, not slowing down. So that's more and more silver is going to be, and the big data centers that are required for all the data and the cloud and the information and the processing of it, and not even mention the new Samsung longer lasting fast charging batteries for not only automobiles but many multiple uses, as that becomes less costly and more efficient and more effective, that the demand's going to increase for multiple uses of those kind of batteries than just in transportation or vehicles. Well, one more fact that I told you that's coming up. And this fact is an extremely important fact. Silver's historic ratio to gold has collapsed from 16 to 1 in the ground to just 7 to 1 today. See, there aren't many just pure silver mines anymore, like there have been in history, where you have these huge silver veins. The majority, more than 75% of silver produced today is a byproduct production of producing gold, and silver is a byproduct, copper and silver is a byproduct, lead and silver is a byproduct. So what God's put in the ground, man can't put more in there. So we're having a diminishing supply at a time that demand is double digit and triple digit increasing. That's not just a statistical fact. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a warning. That's a real warning. And we are best positioned for that. Those of us that are in 7K, those of us that are helping others become aware of their need for God's money, gold and silver, sound money, to have a little bit of it. We're not telling people how much of it to get. So I asked a question. It's rhetorical. Could silver rise another 190% in the next 5 years? Or could it even rise even higher? Well, why don't we look at what I call the big news? These are still some facts to throw into the equation of what's our advantage in 7K. What's the advantage of being a member of 7K? Learning about gold and silver and why we should need it and how to go about it and how we can do it without harming our friends, relatives, and neighbors. They don't have to buy $10,000, $20,000 like in a lot of these other companies and overpriced. Just the educational aspect of what we provide is worth the membership. Is worth setting up your own gold and silver account, getting a sound money account, learning, participating, learning how to participate. But our biggest advantage is the number of people currently buying gold and silver. Now I'm going to give a statistic in the United States. Now, there's not a lot of facts on this. You can't find a lot, but you can find the people who are in the know, the people who've been following this for decades, people understand. Yeah, Americans in the last decades, where it used to be less than only about 3 to maybe 3.5% of people had gold and silver in America, got down to more than 11%. That's a statistic that's going around, own gold and silver. Okay, more than 11%. Well, but the question is, how many are buying it regularly? So that is how many are buying 10 or more ounces of bullion every month regularly. Well, there's a big debate about that. The experts say it's less than 0.5%. But just think about us that are in 7K and we're on a wealth builder. We're ahead of the curve, aren't we? Well, let's assume that it's 1% in America are actively buying gold and silver, 10 or more ounces of bullion per month. Let's assume that that is. Now, as gold and silver and this information comes out, it's going to be very important. But remember, 7K is expanding globally right now, getting certified, getting registered. We're in 63 countries, certified, registered. We can do business right now. It's much, much, much less than that in the entire world. What happens when people learn about the value of gold and silver? What happens when the news media is now reporting on a daily basis, not just the Dow numbers, the S&P numbers, the different stock exchanges around the world, but they're also reporting what's happening in gold and silver, and it becomes really part of the mainstream news. What happens when, and it will, because of the facts that I've given you today. Well, what happens when that number of people consuming, buying, getting a little, having a, when the populace comes in and starts buying 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 ounces or 100 ounces? What do you got to have the supply? Well, if there isn't that much around and people are wanting to buy, what happens to the price? That's all supply, demand, Keynesian economics. What happens when the number doubles? What happens when the number triples? What happens when it's 5 times itself? What happens when just 1 in 10 people are buying silver in the United States? You know what that NE stands for? Not enough. Yeah, not enough. We don't have enough. Let's look at that ratio. You know, a lot of people, a lot of experts, they talk about this ratio. You know, if the gold's going here, silver's going to go here. Okay. That's why I gave you the historical facts of the ratio. Well, we all know that some of the biggest brokers who have for decades said, do not buy gold and silver, decades and decades and decades, now are saying, hey, you need to own some gold. And they're the ones projecting gold's going to be $4,000 to $5,000 an ounce before the end of 2025. That they're the ones doing that. It's not Bob. It's not you. But what if? What if it does? What if the gold and silver ratio is just 1 to 50? You remember the 50-year average of 47 to 1? Would that give at $4,000 an ounce? That'd give a silver price of 80. Maybe that's one of the reasons, and the lack of supply is the reasons silver is going up so rapidly in price right now. What happens if gold's $7,000 an ounce and you're 1 to 50? That's $140 now. What, you know, there are many financial experts and global macroeconomists because of the global financial situation and because of BRICS and the lack of confidence in the current dollar not backed by gold, that there will be a currency reset around the world, not just in America. And what happens if that happens and some of these people are right and gold is pegged at $30,000 an ounce to the new currency? Wow. That could mean $600 an ounce silver or higher. What if? No guarantees. But gee whiz, what's our risk of not having a little gold and silver in our sound money wallet? Everybody else not having a little just in case. If all these Warren Buffetts and all these multi-billionaires and buying gold and silver, for all the banks around the world buying, and you know, the IMF never been in the top 10 holders of gold bullion. Now they're the number 3 holder of gold bullion in the world. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, you bet it. Oh, America's still number 1. Facts. Let's look at what some of these experts are saying. This is a chart from 1902. This is the real price of 2025 of the silver chart. Now, that's not my $300 I'm writing there. That's all these experts are looking and saying, this is what they are projecting based on supply, demand, economic factors of silver. And some of these people are what you call charters, and they say, you know, here's the cup and handle, and now the cup and handles, and now we're going to reach our new time. Well, you know, charting is one thing. Real facts, how much is in the ground, how much is being used. To me, that's the more important facts. Well, what if Silver is no guarantee, but what if it is $300 an ounce within 5 years or less? Those of us that hold it in 7K, doesn't matter if it's in an intrinsic form of a collectible, 1 ounce is 1 ounce of silver. And it doesn't matter if we paid $159 or $95 or $129 for it. Look what it's worth. Just the intrinsic value. That's what excites me. We have a lot of people not selling their coins and stock and sell anymore when they find out this information, and they do a little bit of their own due diligence. So a lot of the experts are claiming that silver is the future. Now, I'm a gold and silver. I believe in both. Okay, that's me. I'm a guy that's always got some gold and got a little silver. I know silver is kind of speculative, goes ups and down, but the experts are saying silver's the future. I'm not going to argue about it. So let's talk and think ahead a little bit. You and me, members of 7K, and our other members that maybe don't even have an awareness of what they have in their hand with their stack and sell values that they have, with their bullion that they've collected and they have. So, what is the value of the autosaver? I've heard so many people complain and lament, oh, my stack and sell was worth this, but now, well, people are selling them at ridiculously priced. I mean, I bought a lot. Now, I've been a net buyer. If people want to sell them at crazy prices, why not take advantage of it and buy it? But just think about what ifs. What would your autosavers be worth to you? What would be worth to your children? What would be worth to your spouse? Would it be as a legacy? You don't have to sell these things. You should be able to find other means. I mean, you're going to go out and, liquidate your IRA or your 401k every time you have an emergency? No, you find other choices because the penalties are too great. Well, there's no real penalty here, but there is. It's an opportunity penalty. What if penalty? Your stack and sell value. That's what I'm talking about, the whole net. And if you don't know it, get those coins registered in there. Find out what you got. Be prepared. We've got unbelievable assets in this country available to you and me. What's the sound money wallet effect with some of these what ifs? I gave you one example of mine, and my example is even better. If you apply the current buyback price in Sound Money Wallet for that 11.855 ounces of gold bars, I get even more than that $43,000. So it's a great what if. It's a great time to think about what we have, how we have been blessed to be associated with, to think about the person that invited you to become a member of 7K, to plug in, to learn. Don't walk away. Don't turn your back. Plug in, learn, be part of the team, be part of helping exponentiate this around the world. It doesn't matter. You don't know anyone in another country. You're only 5 people removed. You know a person who knows a person who knows a person. But if you're not actively engaged, you're not actively looking, you can't have a global business. Yep, I really believe, and many people do. I think that picture tells 10,000 words, and that's what we all have to look forward to. For when supply does meet demand, when that reality starts hitting the marketplace, when they are asking us for our silver bullion to build the data centers, to build more computers. Yep. And I hope and pray that you see what I see. I hope this information helps you as 7K members understand the value of the business that we have in our hand, the products that we have in our hand, and how they can help others too, so that we have a conviction and a true belief in what we're saying. Now, we can make incomes with this, but I hadn't even talked about that income. But I love showing these statistics because we want people to engage with. We not only want them to have a gold and silver account, we want them to share and get rewarded for the sharing in multiple ways. Instant gold pay, matching metal bonus, 1% matching metal bonus, our share plan where you can get cash rewards, our loyalty points where you can earn free silver, earn valuable products that have intrinsic value and rarity. Yes. Thank you. I hope you see what I see. I hope you're all part of what we are doing in in this company.